Hi, I'm going to demonstrate how to do a polished concrete floor. I've already blocked in a little bit of the window armature and some parts of the fireplace because I also want to show you how to draw a fire. For this, I'm using Strathmore marker paper, cool gray 10, 30, and 50%, plus your black and white colored pencils. For the fire, I'm using goldenrod and cream. So the first thing I'm going to do is the fire. Now we want these things to be very abstract because we don't need the sort of pointy, like cartoonish devil fire. We just want sort of a glow. So I'm going to go in with a pretty abstract shape with my goldenrod here. And then I'm going to take my cream and I'm going to give this sort of a light glow back here. Now fire is see-through, right? So you'll see some stuff through it. And once I have that, now I'm going to go back into my fireplace again with my cool gray 50. And I'm going to darken this up. I started with a cool gray 30 initially, but now I want to make it darker. Okay. Now I'm going to take my cool gray 10 and I'm just going to color in the rest of the fireplace. And then I'm going to give a little bit of structure to the underneath the fireplace. And I'm going to do that with my cool gray 50, the small point. So I'm not going to make a complete contour line. I'm just going to give a little bit of a hint of sort of a grate there. And then I might finally take my black pencil and give it just a little bit more structure. And that's that. Okay, so now I'm going to do the polished concrete floor. And I'm going to start with my cool gray 30. And I'm not going to color it all the way down to here. I'm just going to stay up in here. Okay, so concrete has, oops, that's warm. I didn't want to do warm. Sorry about that. Cool gray 30. Concrete has the potential for a lot of reflection, but also, unlike a wood floor, we don't really want to color our concrete floors with like straight lines that necessarily follow the perspective, because if you look at a concrete floor, it's really mostly just an abstraction of reflections and shadows and texture. So right under here, same as always, the light can't get, so that's going to be a pretty dark place. But there will be some reflections. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to take my cool gray 10 and I'm going to blend that out. Okay. Now I'm going to take my cool gray 50 and just give myself some little swirlies around the edges of my middle gray, right? So it doesn't have to be straight lines. It can just be sort of smudging around like this. And not everywhere. Just sort of feel your way around like how much you want. But like everything else, 3 values of a similar color, so in this case 3 values of the cool gray, help to create natural surfaces and textures and materials. Okay, I'm going to go back in with my 30% gray and go back in around the edges of where I just went over with the 50% gray. And I can drag it into the light areas too, but I want to make sure that I leave enough of those highlights. Okay. And I'm going to blend it out one more time with my 10% cool gray. And this time I'm just going to drag straight across. Okay, remember what we know about shiny surfaces and what reflections. So if you have polished concrete, it's going to reflect, and that reflects down. So I'm going to take my cool gray 50, and in here I'm using my smaller point. This part of the architecture is going to reflect down into the floor. Mostly at the corners. And then where you have your the armature for your between your windows, that will also reflect down. So this plane is reflecting down on this plane. Now I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm going to go in creating what feels like a surface sheen on my lightest parts, and also let it go over into some of the medium and dark grays as well. Then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to go on the side of some of these highlights just to create the reflection more prominently. And then finally I'm going to take my black pencil and just give a little bit of structure, a little darkening of the reflections, not too much. Let the marker speak for itself mostly, but we do like a little bit of drama. And then with the pencil I'm also going to, you can do this or not, but I'm going to give some specks here and there, creating imperfections and textures. Okay, so that's on the marker paper with the cool grays. The next one I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the fireplace, I'm just going to render on the Mi Tintes paper. And for this one you need warm gray 10%, warm gray 30%, warm gray 50%, and your black and white pencils. So for this, I'm going to go with my warm gray 30. go ahead and blend it out with my warm gray 10. I really like the warm grays on the cream colored paper, but you could just as easily do it with the cool markers too. Okay, I'm going to go in with my warm gray 50, and I'm kind of swirl around sort of the edges of some of the middle grays that I have. And some of that can go into the lighter things too. Don't go too heavy-handed with any of this, because the Mi Tintes paper will just suck all the pigment out of your markers in no time at all. I'm going to go back in with my warm gray 30 again and go along the edges I just made with the 50. And some of that I can bring into the lighter parts too at this point. Then I'm going to blend it. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more warm gray 50 over here. Oops. Get my stuff together. I'm going to blend it out with my warm gray 10 again. Okay, I'm going to take my white pencil and I'm going to give myself some spots where you can see the sheen, mostly on the lighter spots, but I can drag into the other medium and dark grays as well. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do is put some imperfections in with the black pencil. And that's it.